My neighbor Margaret is one of the most capable women I know. She raised 4 kids, ran a business, and grows vegetables most people give up on. But Lavender? Lavender humbled her. She bought her first one in spring. It was beautiful, purple, fragrant, perfect. By August, it looked like something you'd sweep off a sidewalk. She bought another one the following year. Same result. 3rd year. Same thing. Here's what nobody at the garden center told Margaret, and what nobody told you either. Lavender doesn't die because you're a bad gardener. It dies because almost everything you've been told about caring for it is completely backwards. The watering advice is wrong. The soil advice is wrong. The pruning advice? Catastrophically wrong. In this video, I'm going to hand you 5 secrets that flip the conventional wisdom on its head. These come from how lavender actually grows in the wild, on rocky Mediterranean hillsides where nobody waters it, nobody feeds it, and nobody fusses over it. By the end, you'll know exactly why your lavender keeps dying and exactly how to grow plants so tough they'll outlive your interest in gardening. Stay with me through all 5, because at the very end, I'm going to share one thing that none of my competitors ever mention. It's the reason lavender grows wild along the back roads of Provence for decades, and why yours doesn't. It takes 30 seconds to fix. Don't skip it. Secret number 3 is the one that saves more lavender plants than anything else, and almost no one talks about it. Let's start at number 5. Secret 5, stop treating it like a plant. Treat it like a weed. Let me give you the single most important mindset shift in this entire video. Lavender is not a delicate ornamental. It's a tough Mediterranean weed wearing a pretty dress. In its natural habitat, it grows out of cracks in limestone, baked by sun, battered by wind, and ignored by rain for months at a time. Those dreamy purple fields in southern France? They're not being coddled. They're being neglected on an industrial scale. So when you bring lavender home and immediately start treating it like a fussy houseplant, watering it on a schedule, feeding it compost tea, mulching it with rich organic matter, you're smothering a desert survivor in luxury. And luxury kills lavender faster than drought ever could. Here's what you do instead. Find the worst, sunniest, driest, most neglected spot in your yard. That dead corner where nothing grows because the soil is thin and the sun is brutal. That is lavender heaven. If you have a south-facing slope where your other plants refuse to live, you just found the perfect lavender bed. Save your good soil for your tomatoes. Lavender wants the leftovers. Margaret made the classic mistake. She planted hers in her best prepared bed, right next to the hostas, in rich, amended soil. That soil, the same soil her vegetables love, was quietly killing her lavender the whole time. We'll come back to Margaret. But first, secret number 4. Secret 4. The soil trick that mimics a Mediterranean hillside. You've probably heard well-drained soil 1,000 times. You've nodded along thinking your garden bed qualifies. It doesn't. Well-drained for lavender means something far more extreme than what you're imagining. According to research from Washington State University Extension and Clemson University's Home and Garden Information Center, lavender performs best in soil with a pH between 6.7 and 7.5, slightly alkaline, with sharp drainage and roughly 12 to 24 inches of annual rainfall total for the entire year. Most American backyard soil sits between 5.5 and 6.5. That's acidic. And most U.S. gardens receive far more moisture than lavender was ever designed to handle. That mismatch is what's been killing your plants before you even start. Here's the recipe. When you dig your planting hole, make it twice as wide as the root ball, but only as deep. Take the soil you removed and throw at least half of it away. Replace that half with coarse builder's sand, fine gravel, or crushed limestone. Not play sand from the toy aisle. Builder's sand. Horticultural grit. The chunky stuff water flies through. Mix it thoroughly. When you squeeze a handful, it should fall apart immediately. If it holds its shape, you've added too much organic matter. Start over. Then, and this is the part people always skip, build a small mound. Plant your lavender on top of slight raised hump, 2 or 3 inches above the surrounding ground. Water will run away from the crown instead of pooling around it. Here's the brutal truth. Lavender doesn't die of thirst. It drowns. The roots want to breathe more than they want to drink. That mound is the difference between a plant that thrives for 15 years and one that rots out in its first winter. One more thing on soil. If you've been adding compost or fertilizer to your lavender bed, stop. Rich soil makes lavender grow soft, leggy, and disease-prone. It produces fewer flowers and a weaker fragrance because the essential oils that give lavender its scent are concentrated when the plant is stressed. A pampered lavender is a boring lavender. If your soil pH is below 6.7, work in 2 tablespoons of garden lime per square foot and wait 2 weeks before planting. Total cost for one plant, about $4. The premium lavender potting mix at the garden center, $14 to $18, full of amendments you don't need. Secret number 3 is coming up, and I promise you it's the one that saves more plants than anything else. Secret 3, the watering rule that sounds like neglect. This is the big one. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Stop watering your lavender. Almost entirely. I know that sounds insane. Every instinct as a gardener tells you a plant needs water, especially in summer, especially when it looks a little tired. But lavender's tired look is not thirst. It's almost always the opposite. The wilting, the yellowing lower leaves, the sad gray cast that makes you reach for the hose. Those are signs of overwatering 9 times out of 10. A 2019 review of Mediterranean ornamental research, summarized in Hort Technology, documented that established lavender survived 60-day drought periods with no measurable decline in plant vigor. 60 days. No water. The plants that died in those trials were the ones receiving regular irrigation. Here's the rule that actually works. For the first 2 to 3 weeks after planting, water deeply once a week to help the roots establish. After that, you water only when you've had no rain for 2 to 3 weeks and the soil 2 inches down is bone dry. Stick your finger in. If you feel any moisture at all, walk away. When you do water, soak deeply once and then let it dry out completely before even thinking about water again. In winter, 0 water. None. Not even if it's been dry. Wet roots plus cold soil is the #1 killer of established lavender. Your plant is sleeping. Let it sleep dry. If your lavender is in a pot, use terracotta, never plastic, never glazed ceramic. Terracotta breathes and pulls excess moisture out of the soil. Drill extra drainage holes if your pot only has one. Tip it slightly so water can't pool in the saucer. Better yet, throw the saucer away entirely. If this is changing how you think about lavender, hit subscribe right now. We do this every week at SereneGreen Gardens. The real science behind the plants that everyone says they can't grow. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Margaret, by the way, was watering her lavender every Saturday morning without fail. The woman who could grow anything had been drowning her plants out of pure love. 3 plants, 3 years, every Saturday, with a hose. Secret number 2 is where it gets permanent. Miss this one, and everything else won't matter. Secret 2, the pruning cut that decides whether your lavender lives or dies. If you've ever pruned your lavender and watched it slowly turn into a woody, hollow, dead-looking donut with green only at the very tips, raise your hand. This happens to almost everyone, and it happens because pruning lavender is genuinely counterintuitive. You have to be more aggressive than feels comfortable. But you also have to know exactly where to stop, because cutting the wrong part and you've killed that branch permanently. There's no coming back from it. A 2017 Royal Horticultural Society pruning study on Lavender angustifolia documented that plants pruned correctly for 3 consecutive years lived an average of 12 to 15 years. Plants pruned into old wood, or not pruned at all, live an average of 4 to 5 years. The pruning cut alone tripled the plant's lifespan. Here's the method. Prune twice a year, and the timing matters enormously. First cut, early spring, just as you see new green growth pushing out of the gray stems. Shape the entire plant into a tight dome, removing about 1/3 of the green growth. Not a light trim, a real cut. You're sculpting a mound. Second cut, right after flowering finishes, late summer, no later than early September. Remove the spent flower stems and another 1 or 2 inches of green growth below them. Shape it back into a dome. Never later than September, because new growth needs time to harden before frost. Here is the rule that saves the plant. Never, ever cut into the woody, leafless brown stems at the base. Lavender wood does not regenerate. Unlike roses or many shrubs, if you cut into bare wood, that branch is dead forever. A plant that's been chopped into the wood will never fully recover. Always leave at least an inch of green growth above the wood. You're trimming the leafy top, never butchering the trunk. Do this from year one. Even when the plant is small and you feel cruel cutting it back, and your lavender will stay compact, bushy, and productive for 10 to 15 years. Skip a pruning cycle, and it starts splitting open in the middle, going woody and hollow. Within 2 or 3 years, unsalvageable. The plant that never dies is really the plant that gets pruned correctly, on time, every time. One secret left, and it's the one that determines whether any of the other 4 even matter. Secret 1. Choose the right variety for the climate you actually live in. Here's the final secret, and it's the one that determines whether any of the previous 4 even matter. Most lavender that dies in American home gardens dies because the wrong variety was planted in the wrong climate. You can do everything else perfectly. Perfect soil, perfect drainage, perfect pruning, and still lose your plant every single year if you're growing a variety that was never designed to survive where you live. There are 3 groups you need to know. Group 1. English lavender, Lavandula angustifolia. Varieties like Munstead and Hidcote. This is the most cold-hardy and the most fragrant for culinary use. Hardy down to USDA Zone 5. If you have real winters, snow, frost, freezing nights, this is your plant. It handles cold beautifully, but struggles in heavy humidity. For most of the Midwest, Northeast, and Pacific Northwest, this is your default choice. Group 2. French and Spanish lavender, Lavandula stoiches. The one with the dramatic butterfly ear flowers on top. Gorgeous, but tender. It hates frost and only survives down to Zone 8. If you're in a warm coastal climate like Southern California, coastal Texas, or Florida, spectacular. If you're in a cold winter zone and you bought this because it was pretty at the nursery, you bought an annual in a perennial's disguise. Group 3. Lavenden, the hybrid varieties like Grosso and Provence. These are the big, robust workhorses you see in commercial fields. They handle heat, tolerate some humidity, bloom enormous, and are tough as nails. Hardy to Zone 6. For most U.S. climates that aren't extreme, especially the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic, lavender is the smartest choice for a beginner because it forgives more mistakes than any other type. Match the variety to your climate honestly. Don't buy French lavender because it's pretty if you live somewhere it can't survive winter. Don't plant English lavender in steamy, humid heat and wonder why it rotted. Walk into that nursery knowing exactly which group works for where you actually live, and you've already done more for your success than 90% of buyers. That's 5 secrets. Now, I promised you a bonus. And this is the one none of my competitors ever mention. You can do everything in this video. Perfect soil, perfect drainage, correct variety, correct pruning, and still lose your lavender in year 2. Because there's one thing that commercial lavender farmers and French growers do as standard practice that almost no American home gardener ever does. They mulch with gravel. Not bark, not with chips, not compost, gravel. Specifically, 3 to 4 inches of pea gravel or crushed white limestone in a circle 18 inches around each plant. Here's what actually happens at the soil level when you do this. The gravel reflects sunlight up into the lower foliage, evaporating surface moisture before fungi can colonize. It heats the root zone in spring, triggering earlier growth. It suppresses weeds without holding moisture. And during winter, it acts as thermal mass, releasing absorbed daytime heat slowly through cold nights, raising the local soil temperature by 2 to 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Penn State Extension and Cornell Cooperative Extension both reference inorganic mulch as the standard for Mediterranean herbs in continental climates. It's not an aesthetic choice. It's the mechanism that lets one plant survive a Pennsylvania winter while another, planted the same week 3 feet away in bark mulch, dies in February. Cost: about $5 for a 50-pound bag of pea gravel. enough to mulch for lavender plants. The Lavender Care Kit at the garden center, $35 to $50. Full of products you don't need. Margaret found this out in year 4. She put gravel down in April. That lavender is still in her garden today, 7 years later. Same plant, same spot. She walks past it on her way to the mailbox and clips a sprig for her kitchen windowsill. She doesn't fuss over it anymore. She just lets it be what it always wanted to be, a Mediterranean shrub on a small patch of imitation Provence in her American backyard. The secret was doing less, not more. So there you have it. 5 secrets, plus the bonus that ties them all together. Treat it like a weed, not a pet. Build it a hillside, not a flower bed. Water it almost never. Prune it twice a year, but never into the wood. Plant the right variety for where you actually live. And mulch it with gravel, not bark. The plant already knows how to live for 15 years. You just have to stop loving it to death. Here's your action step for this week. And it's specific. Walk outside before sunset today. Push your finger 3 inches into the soil at the base of your lavender. If it's damp at all, stop watering immediately for at least 10 days. Look at your mulch. If it's bark or wood chips, rake it away this weekend and replace it with a 3-inch layer of pea gravel from any hardware store. About $5. Find a small twig at the base of the plant and bend it. If it snaps clean and is brown inside, that's old wood. Mark it. Never cut into that zone again. 3 checks. 10 minutes. Possibly the difference between losing this lavender by August and keeping it alive for the next decade. Drop a comment right now and tell me 2 things. What USDA zone are you in, and which of these 5 secrets surprised you most? I read every single one, and your answers shape what we cover next here at SereneGreen Gardens. If this video saved your next lavender plant, hit subscribe. We drop new episodes every week on the plants people swear they can't grow, with the strategies that actually work. Hit the bell. I'll see you in the next one. Now go check your soil. Your lavender is waiting.